So if you're into LinkedIn creation, guys, and LinkedIn content creation, you're at the right place today. All of the people present here are masters at LinkedIn content creation and pros on their own. They've managed to build successful connections and also foster successful engagement for themselves throughout their journey. And now their knowledge is accumulated in this one very session. So stay tuned till the end. Let's just start with a quick round of introductions. I think, Darika, we can start with you.
Hi Jasmine, thank you for the wonderful introduction. My name is Darika. Talking about myself, I am an HR professional carrying 1.5 years of experience into recruitment. Apart from that, I'm an Indian content creator wherein I create content revolving around HR, interview preparation, personal branding, and other areas. That's about me. Over to Shivani.
That's great.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for having me. So, as you know, my name is Shivani Gera, and I possess 5 years of work experience working with brands like Deloitte, PwC, and Equity Knowledge Partners, that is Moody's, and now with EY. So, I am a personal branding and a personal finance content creator. The integration of making people learn about financial literacy was the aim why I started writing on LinkedIn. So, the journey is going on.
That's nice. On to Devan now.
Hi all. I think first of all, thanks Shubham for the invite, and to all my fellow creators for such a amazing event that they have planned to kickstart. Specifically, starting off with this episode. Just a brief about myself. I think in just three sentences. First, I'm somebody who's always been into marketing and branding. Worked with a lot of prominent B2B and B2C brands over the years, and I am merit scholar and also an educator. And I would say daily dialing with content creation over the last few years now. Uh, yeah, that's it from my end.
That's nice to hear. So I'll also give my introduction. My name is Jasmine Sachdeva. I've been creating content on LinkedIn and Instagram in the student guiding niche since approximately 2 years. And उसकी वजह से मुझे काफी webinars और seminars देने को मिल जाते. So an educator as well. Apart from that, I am a freelancer, social media marketer, and I've been helping brands and personal brands in their LinkedIn journeys as well. So that's about it. Now let's jump on to the topic for what we are here. I'll just give you the brief. So LinkedIn has transformed from a simple networking site into a vibrant hub where professionals globally can highlight their skills, connect with peers, and advance their careers. Yet with the vast amount of content, it's essential to have strategic approach to stand out and engage meaningfully. Our panel discussion seeks to uncover the strategies for excelling in content creation on LinkedIn, empowering professionals to expand their networks, build influence, and succeed on the platform. Let's just start with the questions. The first question is for Darika. So, Darika, what do you think are the key elements of a successful LinkedIn post? Since you have managed to gain so many followers on LinkedIn, I think you can answer in the best way. And how can professionals ensure their content stands out amidst the platform's crowded feed?
Thank you for the question, Jasmine. Coming to the first part wherein you asked about key elements. So, I think it's very important to create your content keeping in mind the audience that you're catering to. A lot of people do not know their niche, right? They discover at a later stage of time. So, it's very important to create content around a specific niche wherein people are easily able to resonate, right? Then you need to keep experimenting with your content, right? There are times when long form content will perform, maybe carousal post will perform. So it's very important to understand that and create relevant content. Maybe talk about personal experiences. Audience will relate it to an another level. And coming to the second part, I think it's important to be very authentic. A lot of people tend to copy paste content, but that will only result in a few followers, but will not lead to meaningful connections. So I think that's important. Other thing is to keep a tab on the time you post your content. So there are a lot of people who post in the morning, and then the audience actually looks forward to it, right? Because they know that okay, Darika will be posting so and so content on this and this time, and hence there is an increase in the engagement as well. Then also about the content, so you can experiment with the content. For example, you can create a short video wherein you guide about certain topics topics, or all of these things. Then the last part is to interact with your audience, right? As soon as you put up a post, try engaging with the comments within the first 30 minutes to, increase the reach of the post. So I think these are a few pointers that people need to keep in mind.
If someone has anything else to add, you can add that.
So I
I
have
think I
one point that
yeah.
I like to mention here. I mean, that worked for me most of the times. Having a good, compelling, tagline or a basic headline, that hook line works very nice, because ultimately, people give just 2 to 3 seconds for the initial 2 to 3 seconds, which will decide that they will look into your post or not, they want to read about it or not. So having that compelling or catchy headline or tagline, or whatever you call it, a hook line, so that catches the attention of the audience. So वो थोड़ा सा अगर अच्छा होगा, and थोड़ा सा, it works in different way. For me, most of the times, reverse psychology works. So let's say if I'm putting a heading, do not invest in SIP, so people tend to see, okay, सब तो बोल रहे हैं कि SIP करनी है, करनी है, करनी है, ये क्यों बोल रही है, देखते हैं इसका क्या लिखा है. So like that. So I think the hook line works very nicely. You should be putting more emphasis on what hook line or what headline you are mentioning at the top.
I think I agree with all of the points here, and hook line काफी मैटर करती है, because that is the point जहाँ पे पता चलेगा कि लोग आपका पोस्ट पढ़ने वाले हैं नहीं पढ़ने वाले हैं. एंड द क्वेश्चन वाज कि जैसे क्राउड से कैसे स्टैंड अपार्ट करना है आपको. तो आजकल सब लोग लिंक्डइन पोस्ट डाल रहे हैं, बट दे नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन व्हाट दे नीड टू राइट. सो इसमें हुक्स, टाइमिंग और जो भी दारिका ने मेंशन किया, इट प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, आई थिंक. सो आप, अगर आप न्यू हो कंटेंट जर्नी में और आपको लगता है कि यार सब लोग इतना पोस्ट पोस्ट डाल रहे हैं, मेरा तो चलेगा ही नहीं, दैट्स नॉट द केस इफ यू फॉलो द राइट अमाउंट ऑफ स्टेप्स. The next question is for Devan. So, Devan, what do you think? How can professionals balance personal authenticity with maintaining a professional image while creating content on LinkedIn?
Okay, so I think personal authenticity and the professional aspect, both of them need to be, I think, married into each other. Given the fact that every creator has a certain voice, certain tone, certain tonality, and a certain brand image that they carry, right? They so over here, I think, right from the point of somebody's a freelancer to somebody who's working into a corporate professional, like in a corporate journey, they carry a certain sense of gravitas whenever they're posting their thoughts, opinions on social media, right? LinkedIn being a professional platform, one needs to be very mindful, right? So, say for I'll explain with the help of an example here. If I am deconstructing a brand in terms of its campaign and its financials, right, and decoding maybe the founder's journey, so I'll try to integrate all of that into a mini caselet, right? It stems from my learning as a B school graduate, the way everything is around case studies, right? There are no as such any specific textbooks for that matter, right? So that's basically my personal experience, which I'm carrying forward, and then I'm also mentioning that okay, they get like a little bit of a sneak peek maybe from my Instagram that okay, this is who Devan is and how his journey has been, right? So you can maintain your dignity and integrity as somebody who's working in the professional realm, and also talk about things that you're working on a day-to-day basis, right? So just like how the Vault Guide revolves around a day in the life of a brand manager, right? So since I've penned on multiple of these, so I know that uh, somebody who's a job seeker or somebody who's a fresher or maybe in college, what are the things that they can look forward to and how that is going to enable them to get onto a journey of maybe I think self development, introspection, retrospection, or whatever you call it. And the way that is communicated is through content, right? It could be, and I think as Shivani and Darika and you have also mentioned that it could be in any format. Could be an Instagram reel, could be a LinkedIn post, could be a short on InShorts, or could be on YouTube, right? So it's just a way of expression, but whatever you have to say, it needs to have certain do's and don'ts in place, right? Somebody who really wants to be taken seriously, they will never comment about maybe religion, somebody else's religion, or their own. right? They need to ensure, and even the platform also flags off those profiles, right? And then obviously, something around orientation, there somebody else's political opinions, things that usually people would not even want to discuss when they're out with friends, leave alone, even mentioning things like these on a platform. And do's would be then obviously, ensure that there is a consistency for your profile, whatever you're mentioning. If you're always somebody who writes in first person, please continue to do so, right? Then there are some who, do it in second person. And then obviously, your timing, everything that you would like to be remembered as is exactly what you should be putting it out there on social media. Yeah,
Agreed,
that's what.
agreed, agreed with all the points. एंड एज यू वेरी राइटली मेंशनड कि मैटर करता है कि आपके पोस्ट जो है वो थोड़ा सा आपका प्रोफेशनल साइड भी दिखाएं, थोड़ा सा पर्सनल साइड भी दिखाएं, विच इज कुछ पोस्ट आपके फर्स्ट पर्सन में भी हो सकता है, कुछ सेकंड पर्सन में भी हो सकता है, विच आर लाइक वेरी प्रोफेशनल, सम आर इन द मिडल एंड सम आर वे टू अनप्रोफेशनल, विच इज योर पर्सनल स्टोरीज या फिर कुछ आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस, क्या हुआ आज मेरे साथ डे टू डे लाइफ, अ डे इन द लाइफ ऑफ अ क्रिएटर और समथिंग लाइक दैट. So,
Yeah,
as you rightly mentioned, and also I think there's a trend of pictures with posts these days on LinkedIn, which wasn't there earlier. I think that trend is introduced because people wanted things to get way more personal. Because पहले बहुत professional हो रहा था, बस text था. So I think pictures work way better. Videos and pictures work way better if you need to add a professional, personal aspect.
yeah. Just a side note on that: the caption and the image should be in sync in some shape or form, and not in dissonance,
It helps, yeah.
because at the end of the day, it might look like Flickr or Pinterest or
Hmm.
Instagram.
Hmm. Right. But you know what? I think that if everyone else is doing something and if a trend is being followed, then all of the creators have to follow that trend. It's not like if people are posting pictures and मैंने starting में सोचा था that मैं नहीं करूँगी post pictures, but then everyone is doing it, then you have to go where the crowd is. मतलब ultimately as a creator, I think.
No, not really. That's where your personal authenticity will, play a role, right? I've always been a fan of photos, but not my own, because I am somebody who's very photographic. In terms of memory, I can, maybe remember things better that ways, and that's how I've been manufactured. I would say programmed or wired. But I usually know that maybe if say for example there's a brand collaboration and they want a photo to be, added to your post, and you're absolutely, you are left with no other option, then you need to oblige, but not with every single post. I'm really sorry, but maybe there is a difference of opinion on this one.
No, obviously to each their own, and I
Yeah,
think we're all at a very good level. So I think हम सब ने अलग अलग strategies भी follow करी हैं to like get there. So I think to each their own, जिनको पसंद है चीजें वो वैसे करते हैं. It's not a hard and fast rule कि यही यही करना है.
true.
Okay, coming to the next question. So I'll start with the answer of this, and then everyone else can give their opinions. The question is, can you provide examples of content formats or storytelling techniques that have proven effective in driving engagement and fostering meaningful connections on LinkedIn? So what I think is that पहले तो जितने भी points अभी तक mention हुए हैं, I think all of the points, hook बहुत important होता है, professionalism and personalism कहाँ use करना है, you have to know. अगर आप फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई एम अ सोशल मीडिया मार्केटर एंड मुझे सोशल मीडिया मार्केटर कनेक्शंस बिल्ड करने हैं, सो आई नीड टू शेयर स्टोरीज अकॉर्डिंगली कि मैं अपनी मार्केटिंग जर्नी, अपनी फ्रीलांसिंग जर्नी की स्टोरी शेयर करूँ, सो दैट अदर पीपल रेजोनेट विद इट, अदर पीपल कैन कम एंड सी कि ओके ये जो बोल रही है मैं इसे समझ सकता हूँ, आई कैन फील हर, एंड देन आई बिल्ड सिमिलर कनेक्शंस. Similarly, if my target audience is, for example, students, in my case, so मुझे ऐसा content share करना है which I know that students would relate to, students would come out to me, they would DM me, I would build connections which are meaningful for me in the long run, because students is what my target audience is. So I think this is how you have to take care. Apart from that, not everyone has to be your connection. You have to draw the line where you need to know किसको बनाना है connection, किसको नहीं बनाना है. So that comes with practice, I guess. Apart from that, what else? a lot of content formats work if you need to, like for example, if you experiment with the text post and वो work नहीं कर रहे हैं, start posting videos, start posting carousels, start posting images. Or there are a lot of other content formats which you can experiment with. तो आपका engagement सिर्फ एक particular hard and fast rule से नहीं चलता है. You have to keep experimenting on different formats, different hooks. As Shivani said, reverse psychology. सो बहुत सारी चीज़ें यू कैन ट्राई एंड टेस्ट. बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े क्रिएटर्स के कंटेंट से एग्जाम्पल्स लो एंड देन टेक दैट फॉरवर्ड विद यू. कीप नोटिंग डाउन कि वो ऐसा क्या कर रहा है जो मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, या मेरे को वो चीज़ कर लेनी चाहिए. इफ एनीवन एल्स हैज एनीथिंग टू ऐड.
Yeah, I would like to add. Um, I think, Jasmine, you covered most of the points, but to start with, I would say simplicity is the main key here. You have to make the content so simple so that the target audience, at least in my case, students can understand what exactly I'm
True.
trying to say. If I'm saying something about, let's say, mutual funds, so मैं उसको कैसे simplify कर पा रही हूँ ताकि एक basic audience भी समझ ले, उसमें एक element डालना है कि एक medium audience भी समझ ले in terms of knowledge. So वो एक mix match करना, so that is something which is very important. And I think for me most of the posts that worked, और जो approaches या जो trends follow करके work करे है, stats the first thing. The second post that works for me is very thought provoking liners or thought provoking one liner statement. The third one is something which is having humor. So when Paytm came, so I just wrote something about अब Paytm करूं कि Paytm ना करूं. So these kind of basic posts, so this have some kind of humor into it, some intriguing statements as well, some attention grabbing headlines, as you also mentioned that headlines and hooklines plays a very crucial role. So these kind of approaches will definitely give some kind of weightage to your content. And again, you have to fit in the algorithm. People say that do for yourself, write for yourself, not for algorithm, but I seriously believe that ultimately you
True.
have to fit in the algorithm. So
True. You have to follow it.
yeah.
I agree with
Darika,
that.
would you like to add something? Or maybe I can share.
I think Shivani and Jasmine have covered it. There's like certain hacks or maybe corporate tips in like 2 to 3 lines that people can relate to that has worked for me. And yeah, that's about. Okay, continue.
Okay. I just have a very small pointer here, and that's something that I learned over time. Anything that shocks you or surprises you is going to get attention, right?
Hmm.
So, shock is the negative part, surprise is the pleasant part. One fair example of surprise is something that I've tried and tested, and that's the classic. You can pick any book, any movie, and it follows the hero's journey framework, right? And that's primarily from here to here, right? Arsh se farsh tak ka jo safar hai, I think that's the kind of, I think the underdog story always sells, right? Because there is a certain hook to it, and that's how humans have also been wired. That okay, there is a story, and then once upon a time being the classic framework, right? All of these are integrated from human psychology itself, and fortunate enough to learn that during a lot of, I think, marketing sessions and boot camps, which I joined maybe as a student and then now leading as an educator. So I think so many frameworks of psychology which really help somebody to actually do like a brilliant job with their content. And yes, I think as Shivani's already mentioned, the cliche is that write for the for your audience and not for the algo, but your audience won't see it if the algo doesn't support it, right? So
True.
yeah, that's to it.
True. Absolutely. I think we've covered all the points here. Let's jump on to the next question. This is for Shivani. So, Shivani, what strategies do you recommend for professionals aiming to build and nurture a thriving community of followers and connections on LinkedIn?
All right. So I think if you are someone who is looking to build up connections or community over LinkedIn, start writing about what you like. Let's say if I'm someone who's like, who like to write about finance, or make people aware about what's happening in the market in terms of trend, market landscape, outlook, whatever you like to. Just start with your niche. Ultimately, you'll find that okay, this type of content is working for me or not. So there's specific set of audience जो आपके post को regularly engage करेगी धीरे धीरे करके. So consistency again is the key. आपको वो change नहीं करना है अपना एक framework जो आपने बनाया है. You have to try this at least for 1 2 weeks minimum. So if you think that this kind of framework is working for you and you can go with this kind of framework, ultimately a community will automatically get built up. जो आपके कंटेंट को सपोर्ट करेगी. सेकंड थिंग, इफ यू आर समवन हु डू नॉट लाइक टू राइट कंटेंट ऑन लिंक्डइन, जरूरी नहीं है कि सबको कंटेंट क्रिएटर ही बनना है. सो इट्स ओके इफ यू कैन एंगेज बाय द वैल्यूबल कमेंट्स ऑन सम अदर creators post is also a good way to engage and to build that kind of good rapport with the person. The third thing is, when you're sending, is very basic thing, but when you're sending a connection request to anyone, make sure you're making it little personalized. I'm not saying about people जिनको random आप request भेज रहे हो, but I'm just telling कि आप किसी HR को भेज रहे हो, या मैं सिर्फ प्रोफेशनल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बोल रही हूँ कि अगर आप किसी HR को भेज रहे हो, लेट्स से आप किसी इन्वेस्टर को भेज रहे हो, सो पर्सनलाइजिंग योर रिक्वेस्ट और इनवाइट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. कुछ वर्ड लिमिट होता है, अगर आपके पास प्रीमियम है, यू हैव सम गुड वर्ड लिमिट ऐसा, बट बेसिक पे आपके पास बहुत कम वर्ड लिमिट्स होते हैं. सो हाउ यू आर फ्रेमिंग योर पर्सनलाइज इनवाइट, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So again, engaging on other creators posts, finding your own niche, or sending the invites that are more personalized to what exactly you're looking forward to. You can always start with, I found this content piece very creative, and I that post grabbed attention and really like to connect with you for your valuable insights. We share a common interest, something like that. So that helps you to build a good community, or you can say a good rapport with the creators or any kind of person you wanted to connect with.
True. Anything else, Devan or Darika, you want to add?
To add to what Shivani said, so she mentioned about personalized messages. I think that works wonders. Apart from that, you can even experiment by sending a voice note. I've seen people sending a voice note, and that actually has an impact because you actually get to hear that person, whatever he has to say. And then, of course, not like, hey, I want a job, but then of course having the relevant thing. So what you can do is you can follow the activity of the person for like a week, and then connect with the person later on, having like Shivani mentioned that, hey, I've been following your content for a while, and you express yourself so well on so and so topics, and then attach a CT as well, so that the person knows what you actually want to talk about.
Right. Devan, you can continue.
Yeah, sure. I think it's quite evident that all the points have been covered. Just something that really has worked. I think uh, when I transitioned from B2C to a B2B kind of a domain was whenever you meet people, I think offline, it always helps in, actually not from a follower point of view, but mostly from I would say, a meaningful bond point of view where, you can actually count them as a part of a network, right? Because you might have a lot of people in your followership, but do you have like a connect with them
Hmm.
beyond your content, right? So that's
Hmm.
where, if say for example somebody wants to apply for a job, and somebody who's maybe at a very senior role, right? Or maybe you're looking for a business connect, right? Is that person going to reciprocate in some shape or form, right? So
Hmm.
that's what will qualify the net worth in your network, right? So
Of course.
if you do not get the opportunity to meet somebody offline, you can always engage with the content, see, and not like, okay, thanks, like C4R and all of that, or plus, I think actually writing something which is like a direct understanding that you have actually read the content and
Entire
tried
post.
some thought to it. That could be the same opinion, could be a parallel line of thought, or could be a completely divergent line of thought altogether, right? But then it should have something that this person will, okay, take note. Okay, somebody has taken the time out and they're actually serious about my content. And once you do that over, I think maybe 6 or 7 times, in marketing there are at least 7 touch points that you need to establish for somebody to build a recall value about a brand. Similarly, that
Hmm.
happens about an individual as well, right? So, and then maybe you can transition that to an offline connect. Maybe get to see what are the possible synergies out there, and that's how maybe you can have a lot of things rolling for you. And I think as you also host like a lot of webinars, Jasmine, and I think even Shivani and Darika is also coming up with an audio event now. So I think these are opportunities which people can seed so that their community is actually energized at all times, right?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. Okay.
True. I think all of you have covered everything in this question. One thing that has helped me personally is replying to all of my DMs. क्योंकि earlier ये चीज़ होती थी कि बहुत सारे DMs as a creator you get lot of DMs, but sometimes that happens कि आप बहुत time तक reply नहीं कर पाते DMs का. So I used to miss out on important DMs as well. Like someone could be a good connection for me, someone could have sent a very good opportunity to me. कई बार मेरे events miss हो जाते हैं इस चक्कर में because I like don't see my DM. So I think be very regular on LinkedIn. मतलब एक घंटा निकालो, अपने comments लिखो थोड़े बहुत, like 5-10 मिनट comments लिखो, 5-10 मिनट DMs के reply करो. Also Instagram पे ये चीज़ चलती है कि you can go Instagram live, but LinkedIn has come up with this LinkedIn audio thing, so use that wisely. I think everyone should use it, not just creators but everyone. If even if you're commenting on someone's post, तब भी आप use कर सकते हो. Okay, now let's quickly jump on to the next question. This is for Darika. So, Darika, how can professionals effectively utilize features like LinkedIn Live, articles, and video posts to enhance their content strategy and engage their audience?
So LinkedIn Live is a great way wherein, so I'll just break down these things. How does it work? So LinkedIn Live is basically wherein you can host Q&A with industry experts and get their viewpoints. So I think it's a great way to network with different people, maybe from the same industry, maybe from some other industry, wherein you can get help later on. Then for LinkedIn articles, you can actually share your insights on relevant topics. People can actually benefit from it. There are certain times when those articles pop up in your feed, so they can benefit you. Maybe something you can also get ideas for content from that. There are a lot of times when I'm simply scrolling through content, and then I get an idea for myself as well, so that works wonders. And what was the last one that you had mentioned? One was LinkedIn article, one was LinkedIn
Articles and
audio mail,
video
and what was
posts.
the last
Video
one?
posts.
Video post, all right. So video posts are also a great addition, because there are times when people don't really want to engage with long format post, right? So video one is a great way to engage with the audience. So these can actually help you in experimenting, and can also lead to a wider reach.
Absolutely. Is there anything else to add, Shivani or Devan?
Yeah, I mean, the only concept here is that you're dealing with human, right? So the psychology says that human resonates with human in terms of relatability. So वो relatability point आता है मुझे लगता है ऐसा audio events के through. So Devan and I also take some kind of audio sessions, audio events on weekends. So we get to interact with so many folks right there. We call some experts from the industry. So it builds some kind of good rapport. First thing, good networking. थर्ड थिंग, वी ब्रिंग पीपल टू अ प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे काफी लोगों के डाउट्स क्लियर होते हैं. सो इट गिव्स अस अ सेंस ऑफ आई वुड से यू नो आई वुड से फुलफिलमेंट दैट वी आर एबल टू आंसर दोज क्वेश्चंस जो वो नहीं पूछ पा रहे. सो वी प्रोवाइड दैट प्लेटफॉर्म. I think that's the best way you can interact with your audience. You can create that sense of relatability and the credibility.
Of course, absolutely. Devan, would you like to add something or should I?
I think since it's been quite a good number of weeks now that I've been working on the LinkedIn audio events, and then in addition to that, actually having like a channel in place uh, through which people can directly reach out, trying to automate it through Telegram now, uh, so that there is some sort of a communication or a dialogue that is taking place, because usually in most popular formats out there it's usually a monologue thrown at you, but
Hmm.
when you talk about building a network, it's usually a dialogue, because it's like being a part of a WhatsApp group where only the admin can send messages. Imagine how frustrating that can get, right?
True.
It's not having any conversation in it. So that's how
Hmm.
humans work. And I try to interrelate with everyday workabouts, that okay मुझे कैसा feel होगा if somebody is just throwing something at me but not giving me an opportunity to actually maybe share an opinion or maybe ask a question, right? So it's
Hmm.
an AMA but done in a very LinkedInish kind of a format, right? And then integrating it in a much more channelized manner through maybe WhatsApp, maybe a WhatsApp channel, maybe a WhatsApp group, or maybe a Telegram channel, right? So Yeah, these are different opportunities. Again, another touch point that you're trying to establish for your audience.
True, true, true. I agree with all of your points, and I think all of you have covered it very well. I don't need to add anything here. So next question is again for Devan. So Devan, what do you think are the steps that professionals should take to establish a strong personal brand and position themselves as thought leaders in their industry?
Okay, so maybe I'll explain this with the help of an example because it would be more relatable. So if somebody is, I'll take my example here. Uh, I have been in the domain of marketing and branding and now tending towards a business leadership kind of a role, right? So maybe I can talk about things, the way I, work on a campaign, right? Challenges that I face, right? Any roadblocks that I might have faced, touching upon, finer nuances that how do you maintain a work-life balance, how do you maintain that sanity if you have like a longer work day, or maybe you are supposed to work maybe on a weekend, right? How do you meet timelines, how are you
Hmm.
supposed to work with the team which has different group dynamics, right?
Hmm.
All these things are very personal to me, and maybe I can have like an opinion about it given that I've endured it and survived and thrived in it, right? Similarly, when so these are like different layers, just like how you get to know a friend over a period of time. Similarly, somebody gets to know a content creator, I wouldn't say a content creator, maybe a blogger or a vlogger over a period of time. They take you on a journey with them, right? So if you're watching like a travel vlog, right, there are drone shoots, right? Then
Hmm.
then you're eating maybe a pizza, right? Then maybe you might be crossing a bridge. Maybe there's a stream, a brook, right? So that's the same kind of treatment that a personal brand can be built in, while you're sharing your professional experiences. You touch upon different aspects and showcase yourself as a well-rounded personality, and similarly address like a lot of concerns which people out there might be having, people who are just getting into the industry, or somebody who's junior to mid or a mid to a senior kind of journey, because it will showcase an evolution of yours while you're still in the industry, right? And then how do you manage things? Maybe somebody wants to uh, maybe start something of their own, right? Maybe a venture, maybe a content property, or maybe for that matter even learn what your sources are through which you're getting the content from, like inspired, curated, created, not copied, not plagiarized, but things that are very unique and original to you. You never
True.
know, you might end up inspiring somebody in the long run. So that's how I usually perceive it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also another point to what you said, that people can see news articles on their particular industry or their particular fields. So if you go to Google and I, for example, search trading, so I can see the recent news articles on what is happening, क्या चल रहा है stock market में, ये सब, and I can create content on those particular current affairs in my particular industry, so that I emerge as a thought leader in my industry कि मुझे सब knowledge है, I know whatever is happening, I know recent क्या है. See, my niche is students. So abhi recently there was this person who committed suicide because of work pressure. You might have heard of that. A lot of people who are creating content around this niche were targeting this issue in their content pieces, क्योंकि लोग जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या आप उस चीज से अवेयर हो जो हो रहा है इंडस्ट्री में. इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि आपने बस बोल दिया एंड यू डोंट नो वट एवर हैपनिंग अराउंड यू, एंड क्या आपके पर्सपेक्टिव है उस चीज पे कि मतलब वट एवर यू हैव टू एड टू दैट पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन दैट इज बीइंग हैपनिंग. Do you have anything to add, Shivani or Darika or Devan?
Jasmine, I think taking just drawing from what you've mentioned with respect to the suicide that happened, uh, I came across a lot of articles which had very little to do with helping someone, but
Hmm.
more about getting mileage for themselves.
Hmm.
And
That happens.
that is not showcasing thought leadership in any which way possible. Because
Hmm.
when we address something like mental health, we need to know the finer differences between what anxiety is, what depression is, what chronic depression is, right?
Right.
And what are the and numerous such layers to it, right? And I think when somebody wants to showcase thought leadership, they should be much well read than their audience, right? So it needs
Of
like a lot
course.
of research
Research.
orientation,
Hmm.
right? People can end up drawing a lot of flack and getting trolled on social media because if you put out any content which is ill informed and is not properly cited, you
Hmm.
will be questioned left, right, and center. And these days, we are all aware how trolls operate, and it's not just about people who might be there just to intentionally show you down, but there'll be people from your own industry who will question your authenticity on it, right? And you can get called out, and the uh, and I've come across a lot of such posts where people are unable to defend themselves, and 2 days later that post is deleted.
Of course. No, I mean
So
that's just an example. There are a lot of current affairs happening in anyone's industry, anyone's field. So
yeah,
my point was just to reiterate on the fact that you can research very well on a particular topic and then speak about it, or choose to speak about it, or not choose to speak about it if you don't have enough information. Obviously, things happen where people don't research enough. They just put out seeing other people's post कि मैंने वो देख लिया तो मैं भी डाल देता हूँ. ये वाली चीज नहीं होनी चाहिए. You have to go out there, properly read about whatever is happening, and उसके बाद अपनी पूरी research करके ही उस चीज पे आओ. But also be aware of whatever is happening.
yeah, true.
Okay. Do you have anything to add, Shivani or Darka? Or should I move forward?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So next question is for Shivani. Shivani, what do you think? How can professionals identify and make use of relevant hashtags on LinkedIn to increase their visibility of their content and reach a broader audience?
Right. So, in terms of hashtag, first thing, I won't say myself an expert into hashtag thing, but the basic thing which I do is understanding the concept of what I'm writing and using the hashtags accordingly. For example, if I'm writing something about personal finance, so I'll put a hashtag as hashtag personal finance, financial literacy, something like that. So, I think relatability should be there, as Devan mentioned for a photograph. Same goes with the hashtag sense as well. So I've not been using some of the tools, but there are some tools which defines that this hashtag is a banned hashtag, and if you're gonna put this kind of a hashtag, so algorithm will not push your post. So
Hmm.
avoid using those ban hashtags. So there's a specific website for this, that is banhashtag.com. So you can check that this particular hashtag is banned or not. For Instagram, I've seen some of the hashtags like again a tool or a website that is sprout.social.com. So not been using those, but yeah, heard of some.
Hmm. Even I've heard of some. Yeah. And that is a very useful tool. I guess I'm going to use it. Anything else to add, Devan or Darika?
I think specifically, I think banned hashtag is something that I've heard a lot, but I think it always shows like a security alert whenever I try to check it. Um, I usually try to have like very specific first the proprietary hashtag that maybe I'm using hashtag dbytes, right? So that people can go and follow and get updates.
Hmm.
Second would be the hashtag should be in sync with the content. If I've done like a case study, I would, and if it's on a startup, I would put a hashtag startup. Also, third is something that I would maybe research and try to find out which hashtags are very focused and has specific type of people following it, right? Because you will always see the number of followers under a hashtag. If I just put hashtag India, it can have X number of things mapped to it. But if I write hashtag B2B marketing or hashtag procurement, I'll find very focused
Specific.
creators who are working on that. And then also, this that hashtag will show up in the feed of people who are maybe procurement managers, maybe procurement heads, or chief procurement officers, just giving you like a sense of flavor that okay, this is how B2B side works. And similarly, the same concept is applicable at a much scaled down version for B2C as well.
Right. I think what I used to do was, I don't do it anymore. but I there was this particular website, I don't remember the name, but if you put down relevant keywords, for example, if my post is about marketing or social media marketing, so I can put down social media marketing, and then it will show me the hashtags that are top working right now on LinkedIn, like that are garnering much more engagement than other hashtags. So if you're into like fostering engagement through hashtags, then you can search for some websites on Google and then use those hashtags which have much more engagement than other hashtags. I don't think right now hashtags play a very, very crucial role as much as they used to do earlier. Even if you don't put hashtags, I don't think it matters a lot. But अगर आपको use करना है तो you can use it wisely also according to the topic you're putting.
It's just
Agreed,
like a
agreed.
hygiene from an indexing point of view. जैसे बुकमार्क
Yeah,
होता है, वैसे ही आपका पोस्ट भी बुकमार्क की तरह शो होगा.
yeah, exactly. Even I personally don't follow any hashtags, so I don't think people do that a lot. So it's fine if even if you don't use hashtags, I guess.
I have seen people putting 20, 30 hashtag. इतना तो बड़ा मेरा content नहीं होता कभी कभी.
I think it's a waste of time. इतना ज़्यादा तो
about
नहीं.
to mention this. I was about to mention this. I think people should limit the number of hashtags.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
5 I think is appropriate. 4, 5. Okay. Coming to the next question, which is for Darika. So Darika, which key metrics should professionals track to gauge content performance, and how should they interpret these metrics to optimize their content strategy?
So key metrics for LinkedIn include likes, comments, impressions, reshares, metrics that we actually see, where we get to know if the content is performing well or not. So I think there are a lot of times you would have also seen that the impressions would be more. For example, a post would have gotten like 30,000 impressions, but the likes would be up to like 1,000, 2,000. So I think that helps us to understand whether the post has performed well or not, even the comments for that matter. So it's also very important. So there are a lot of times when we do is a person makes a comment and we actually make a thread of it to increase the engagement of the post. So I think these are some of the metrics that we should keep a tag on. I think Devan can relate because I got this idea
I will be adding to that. Yes.
meaningful comments. So that can be done through LinkedIn Analytics, wherein you get to know how many likes, comments have been given to the post. You get to witness the number of impressions that the post has got in the coming weeks. And there's also a section wherein you know that these many people have actually seen your post, like from the HR. So, for example, if I'm from the HR industry, this percentage has seen your post. Maybe someone from the IT background, maybe someone from the consulting background. So that gives you an idea whether the post is reaching your audience or not. So I think these are some of the key metrics that the person should be seeing, and likes and comments, continuously vary over a period of time. If a person is consistent, then he or she gets an idea whether the post is performing well or not. But if you're unconsistent, then there would be changes in the metrics.
Right. Absolutely. Devan, you were
May
adding
I
something.
add to that?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So I think the holy metric of social media right now is engagement rate. It
Hmm.
is going to give every single detail, I think, that Darika has already outlined, like, shares, comments, in the numerator over either the views or the impressions, right? That's how creators are scouted and by brands. The better the engagement rate, the higher will be the commercials, right? And the second most important is obviously, I think, impressions, right? But engagement rate, I think, qualifies way above whenever a post performance is to be calculated. um, and I think there are instances where people or brands usually prefer, getting reshares done by, major creators, so that their original post reach actually amplifies, whereas sometime else it might be a brand new post just to, amp up. It could be like a product launch or a feature launch. So depending upon where the business or the brand requirement is, they would look at maybe the impression or the engagement rate, right? But it usually revolves around these two.
Yes, agreed. Shivani, do you have anything to add?
I think both of them cover pretty much, but just last thing I want to say is that you also get some insights about the demographics from where the audience is coming from. So
Hmm.
sometimes you can also prepare specific content related to that audience. So I just got to know that Dubai audience are also, watching my post. So ultimately I can post something about Dubai because I know what's happening in Dubai because of the weather condition and all. So I am planning to build a post because people can again relate with those posts. So this helps you to build further post and create good engagements.
Yes, agreed. Even I got to know that I have some people from international as an audience. So मैं बीच में सोच रही थी that I start posting in Hindi, but then when I saw कि I have international audience, so I thought कि sticking to English is the best for me right now,
Correct.
क्योंकि not only Indians are following me but also people from outside are following me. So this helps you understand everything. Okay, jumping to the next question quickly. This is for Devan. So, Devan, as the LinkedIn algorithm evolves, what strategies do you recommend for professionals to stay updated and adapt their content strategies to maintain visibility and engagement in the algorithm?
I think, given that I've been writing about sometimes touching base on mental health, or maybe around things that motivate me. So those are like personal stories. So those have, irrespective, touchwood, irrespective of how the algo has evolved, I think they continue to get similar amount of traction, right? Uh, but at the same time, maybe what I've learned is maybe a longer form of content can actually be condensed into, maybe I can write half the real estate that is there on a LinkedIn post, right, and communicate the same sense in lesser number of words, right.
Hmm.
Since I've always posted with a photo, I realized very early on in my content journey that okay, I'm not just going to write like a content, like a single static text post, because it won't make any sense to me as a reader, right.
Hmm.
People have polls, it works really well for them, but of late I think video or some form of a blended content is actually working really well. By blended I would say static imagery or maybe a carousel, and then obviously following on lines with single image, and then could be other formats, right. There were numerous other uh, I would say like threads for Instagram, right. I am not sure if it picked up, which was trying to rival Twitter slash
It does.
X.
It does. Hmm.
It didn't, right. So short form of content, I think, is like really short form of content is mostly meant for Twitter. But the platform and audience is very different from that on LinkedIn or on
Hmm.
Instagram, right.
Hmm.
And the kind of content works like it's drastically different, right.
Hmm.
Over there it's slightly more polarizing in nature. On LinkedIn it's slightly more educational and informative. Instagram is mostly entertaining, right, or infotainment, and that's like three very classic genres of content. And I think as all the three platforms have evolved in terms of their algos, there are certain content formats that have really stood out as per the genres, right. Newer formats, maybe like a LinkedIn audio event or an Instagram live, have
Hmm.
actually added to the depth that people want to know more about you. And now there's also an option to notify on an Instagram story, right.
Yeah.
बच
Yeah.
रही है हमारे साथ, इट्स लाइक सनसनी खबर इस क्रिएटर के साथ, वो वैसा वाला वाइब आ रहा है. But then it is good, it's actually giving somebody a trigger that somebody has uploaded a story or
It's like
uploaded a post.
YouTube,
Yeah, it's like YouTube.
because YouTube has a bell icon. So I think Instagram
Yeah,
also introduced that.
that your creator is back.
Yeah.
Check out the content.
Okay, I think short form content, ki jaise you said, it's working on Twitter very well. But also recently, I've seen that people put on those slogans on a whiteboard. वो लिखते हैं हाथ से, and then they put on images of that. वो short form content उसमें में LinkedIn पे थोड़ा बहुत चल रहा है. It's like very new to it, but मैंने देखा है it garners a lot of likes and comments क्योंकि people engage with it. That for example कि work from office or work from home, और
वो
मतलब ऐसे ऐसे
कॉर्पोरेट वाला
करके
है थ्रेड. It's a
हाँ.
complete corporate thread. 70-hour
Yeah.
work week. My manager is
Yes.
bad. My boss.
Yeah.
People leave
Yeah.
companies and not people leave managers or bosses and not companies.
Yeah.
So again, that's polarizing content. और मैंने usually corporate bashing वाले
वही होते हैं, yeah.
बहुत ज़्यादा देखे हैं as compared to somebody saying that respect yourself या ऐसे करके, मतलब जो बहुत generic motivation वाले होते हैं वो मैंने
बट
बहुत
आई
कम
थिंक इट्स एन
देखे हैं।
इमर्जिंग फॉर्म ऑफ कंटेंट, एंड अगर ये चीज बैशिंग वाले में यूज हो सकती है तो इट कैन बी यूज पॉजिटिवली एज वेल. मतलब इफ यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग विद लॉन्ग फॉर्म ऑफ कंटेंट तो थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट फॉर्म भी यू कैन ट्राई आउट. इट्स लाइक यू कैन सी कि वो वर्क कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है.
Jasmine, this again works on that similar principle. किसी की मसालेदार खबर ज़्यादा जल्दी स्प्रेड होती है एज कम्पेयर टू किसी का कोई अचीवमेंट.
Obviously.
So, scandal always supersedes any other form of content because it's pure entertainment.
Yeah.
So, I am actually shocked to see like a lot of people who are working in corporate commenting on those posts, and then I'm not sure what message they are sending to their bosses, or maybe they have blocked them. But it's quite it's an irony for a platform like LinkedIn.
Hmm. It is.
That is working because that's
It
meant
is,
for
yeah.
connections and getting jobs.
Professional connections. Yeah.
Yes,
True, true, true. Absolutely. But also all the professionals are coming together at one place, so might as well rant.
Instagram has a lot of corporate meme pages
There is, yeah.
for people to do that.
There, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Darika and Shivani, do you have anything to add?
Darika is smoking, thinking that I'm an HR and I have to go through this every day.
Certainly. Yeah, so I just had a basic point. I think LinkedIn profile optimization is very important. I see a lot of people posting content here and there, and their profile says something else. For example, if a person is a finance content creator and he's posting everything apart from finance, so I think that is very important. You need to mention the niche around which you're creating content, the headline, have a banner at least to get visibility. I think these two things are very, very important.
Hmm. True, absolutely. Okay. So, Shivani, the last question is for you, and then we wrap up the session. We are already at 53 minutes. So, Shivani, what advice do you have for professionals seeking to streamline their content creation process while ensuring quality and consistency on LinkedIn?
All right. So it all boils down to your whole question, your everything. This complete session boils down to start building and identifying your personal brand. The first step is to identify your personal brand. As the name suggests, personal brand. So it is very personal. जो मेरे लिए काम करेगा हो सकता है जो हमने डिस्कशन किया वो किसी के लिए काम ना करे. So
Hmm.
maybe this is something which you have to identify over time by doing some hit and trial on your profile, and ultimately you will understand कि ठीक है this is something which is gaining traction or something like that. So you have
Hmm.
to choose that, you have to identify your niche and then work around it. Try to create that sense of credibility कि आप वो जो post कर रहे हो या वो content जो लिख रहे हो, that is having backing up those thoughts with some good stats or data points. So sources should be very authentic. I've seen people just writing some stats for the sake of writing those stats, पर उसका कुछ अगर source मांगो comment पे तो they don't have, so bogus data again, just to gain some good likes. As they would mention, when you're posting something very serious, right, the issue which you talked about, that was actually catering to some mental well-being, mental health issue. So किसी के suicide चीज को आपने एक टॉपिक ऑफ डिस्कशन बनाया, इट्स ओके टू क्रिएट अवेयरनेस, बट when you're posting some photograph which is completely unrelatable, so I
Hmm.
think that do not creates good networking maybe, or I personally cannot relate with such posts, rather मेरे लिए वो बिल्कुल ही खराब हो जाता है. So
Hmm.
second thing, the third point I want to mention here is whenever you're posting something, post as per the algorithm again. वो फालतू की ज्ञान वाली बात है कि अपने आप लिखो, मन के लिए लिखो, ग्राहक के लिए लिखो, so doesn't work. Okay, so it works as per the algorithm. So ऐसा जैसे अभी दारिका ने बोला, there is specific timings that work for the LinkedIn post. So for me it works like 8:30 morning and sometimes after 4:30 p.m. So try to identify कि आपका audience कितने बजे वो content देख रहे हैं, or they are reading that post. So try
Hmm.
to post as per their availability. Again, the final thing is storytelling is a good way. This is something which is you are connecting with audience that is human, and human to human interaction is only done through storytelling. They can resonate when you're talking about yourself rather than words of chat gpt. So try to write your story, try to chahe, it is not like you have to put that do panno ka bhashan, but you can only simply put 2 to 3 paragraphs of your viewpoint so that people
True.
can relate to it. So that's it from my end.
True. And I think we also have scheduling tool in
Yes,
LinkedIn now.
yes.
So if you like, for example, कुछ लोग नहीं उठते सुबह जल्दी, and सुबह का timing I think what you mentioned 8 to 10 I think is the best
Yes,
timing for me
works.
as well. तो उस टाइम पे अगर कुछ लोग नहीं उठते तो you can schedule it एक रात पहले और एक हफ्ते में सारे schedule करके रख दो and then अपने आप वो post हो जाएंगे. The only thing you need to make sure is that आप regularly comments पे engage भी कर रहे हो. Like as soon as you wake up, you engage with the post as well. ऐसे करके छोड़ मत दो बस.
Right.
Devan or Darika, do you have anything to add here?
Darika, would you like to go first?
So I was saying that we can also repurpose the contents. There are a lot of times we can do is we can actually, repurpose that and maybe put it in a different format. And we can actually have content batches prepared in advance. So what I usually do is I have a WhatsApp group for myself, wherein if something pops up, I just note down the pointers or maybe certain key points that I have, and then maybe create a post later on. So I think that works for me.
Same. Devan, you can go ahead.
Sure. I think just like a best practice, given that there was this conversation that happened with Ankur, who's a principal at BCG. I think we Shivani. I think we did it like a few days back, right?
Yes, yes.
So he basically mentioned that do content batching. So over the weekend, utilize your time so that it amps up your productivity during your weekdays without stressing about the fact that okay, there is a FOMO that steps in, that okay, or I won't say steps in, creeps in, that okay, इसने post डाल दिया मेरा आज का रह गया, and then entire day
Hmm.
you're thinking काश मैंने
Hmm.
अपना weekend थोड़ा better utilize कर लिया होता. And
Hmm.
just an offshoot, just touching on an offshoot, I think please don't compare yourself with other creators, their engagement, or whatever is working, not working, because at the end of the day, if for me content is very personal, so I will never outsource it, right? But somebody else might have an intern doing, replying to comments, right? So don't look at it that okay, your starting point might be very different from somebody else's. Their
Hmm.
journey might be way longer, way more difficult than yours. So don't judge a book by its cover. Take some time out, because content is something that really helps in de-stressing and not to stress you, on, right? So I think yeah, that's all.
I will reiterate on your point here that you said कि FOMO हो जाता है कि उसने डाल दिया हमने नहीं डाला. So I recently met a person who told me कि I post 4 times or 5 times a day, and for me it's like more than enough, more than necessary. But I still don't know कि क्या consistency होनी चाहिए post करने की. Do you post every day, or do you post 3 or 4 times a week, or do you post 4 times a day? Like what is your thoughts here?
Went from one a day for a very long period of time and now to two a week or three a week.
Yeah, I think same.
वो चलने
For
चाहिए.
me,
Those
it's
should be like absolutely spot on, and it will cover. वो सबका कसर भी पूरा हो जाता है.
Yeah, yeah. Shivani was saying something.
yeah. For me, regularly का definition is 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah,
कभी कभी
same.
3 भी हो जाए तो it's fine to me.
चलता है. Yeah, yeah. But 4 times a day is a lot, I think.
I
More
know.
than enough. वो
I
इतना
have
नहीं होना
seen
चाहिए.
people, I have been in touch with people जो एक दिन में 4 post डालते हैं, and I wonder how.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's capabilities are different. हम लोग ज़्यादा busy हो सकते हैं या मतलब people are busy in their own stuff as well. So ठीक है. I think everyone has their own consistency.
Right.
Okay. I think we can wrap up this session now. We're over 1 hour limit. And पता ही नहीं चला time कब निकल गया, but it was very nice interacting with you all. I've seen all of your posts, but I'm interacting face to face for the first time, and it was super nice to
Second.
have a conversation. Oh yeah, second time for you. And I met Darika at the event. So I hope we stay in touch, we stay connected, and I
Yeah,
hope
so
people who
second
are
time for
watching
me
this,
as
they,
well.
yeah, I hope people who are watching this, they gain something out of this. And thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for spending your time here. And that's all from my end.